Namaskar. Welcome to Ancient Wisdom. Fractoloids. Fractoloids is theory of fractals applied to human systems or the social systems. What is fractal? Fractal is a term coming from computer graphics but applied in nature to a number of natural phenomena. A fractal simply means a design. Does not matter how much you expand, does not matter how much you compact, does not matter how much you zoom in, does not matter how detailed you go to, the pattern remains the same. The pattern repeats itself in a spiral, growing up or growing down, expanding or contracting, at the highest level or at the lowest level or at the middle level. Some examples of fractals are given in the comment section. But in natural surroundings, you will see that the branches of the trees, they have a fractal pattern. A tree does not matter how small it is, 2 days tall, 5 days, 1 year, 100 year, has the basic pattern the same. The branches keep expanding in a very particular similar fashion. Or if you see in the sky, the electric discharge or the bijli, you will see those branches also keep on growing in a very similar pattern. This is called as fractals. Or even in our body, the blood vessels keep expanding in this particular pattern which is similar and unique to each body. This is exactly the reason why identification is possible based on these patterns. Where do we use this? In ancient wisdom. The ancient wisdom applies this to the Samaj Purush or Kal Purush. There are number of examples of personification of abstract concepts, and this is one of them. The Samaj, for the purpose of administration or better niti, is divided in ancient wisdom into 4 categories which we all know. The 4 Varna, which were dependent on a guna and a karma. The Kshatriya, the Brahman, the Vaishya and the Shudra. And all are forming the part or parts of the body of the Kala Purush or the Purush itself. And this Purush behaves as per his Prakriti. But these are not watertight compartments. These are connected to each other through the fractaloid theory or fractaloid connection. For example, in general, the Kshatriya is supposed to protect and defend the land, defend the society, defend the people. The Brahman is supposed to study and expand his knowledge. The Vaishya is to generate resources through trading and farming, and the Shudra is to give support services to all 3 categories like the coppersmith, the blacksmith, the goldsmith, or the mechanical engineer or the civil engineer. And these are not watertight compartments. Now taking over and applying fractaloid theory to the Kshatriya. A Kshatriya, as far as his Kshatriyata goes, he is supposed to protect the land and defend the people. He has to be a Brahman in acquiring new knowledge in terms of defense, in terms of weaponry, in terms of new tactics, in terms of Rajaniti. He has to be a Vaishya when he is going for a compromise and try to do a compromise which is best suited in the interest of the people of the country. He has to give and take over there, and he has to show his acumen in terms of the time that is there, time, place and circumstances, so that he can get the best deal at that point of time. And as a Shudra, he has to keep on learning more and more things in his skill set, new strategies, new weapons, new technology, new way of doing things, and inculcate it in his Kshatriya part, which is protecting the people. This way the circle is complete. He is being in all four Varna at the same time expanding and weighting up his role as a Kshatriya. Same is with the Brahman. A Brahman's primary role is to get knowledge, dissipate knowledge, give knowledge to the society and guide it. He has to be a Kshatriya when exhibiting or defending his knowledge. He has to go places and debate with other knowledgeable people so that his knowledge remains new and flourishing, and also that it is tested time and again and it doesn't become redundant. He has to actively seek out other people to debate and discuss. He has to travel to places to find new knowledge, and he has to come back and dissipate this knowledge to his people. He has to be Vaishya when bartering knowledge with other people. Give and take when it comes to exchange of knowledge also if necessary. And he also has to have the gift of the gab to tell the truth, but not to tell it in a katu way. Tell it in such a way that it is absorbed properly and acted upon, and not something that would create unhappiness in the person who is hearing it, and the person may not utilize that knowledge just because it is too hard to hear or too raw to digest. So tell what is necessary, but in a way that is digestible. That is a typical Vaishya style. If the product has negative effects, you have to tell those negative effects. You cannot suppress those, but tell those effects in such a way that the other person understands and other person is able to digest. And same is the case with Vaishya and Shudra. Their primary role is that of Vaishya, but secondary role is that of Kshatriya, Brahman and Shudra. In case of Shudra, the primary role is that of Shudra, but the secondary role is that of Kshatriya, Brahman and Vaishya. This way the Fractoloid theory or Fractoloid application to the society keeps repeating itself again and again in the microcosm as well as in the macrocosm, at home, in society, in the king's court, and so on, in the country, within the country, outside the country, in the whole of the universe, and the society keeps on developing in a sustainable manner. That is ancient wisdom. Now, try applying these concepts in your day-to-day life. Try to categorize your work in Kshatriya, Brahman, Shudra and Vaishya categories and see whether you are behaving appropriately as the Varna demands, as the activity demands, as the society demands, or as the role demands. And when you do this, you will see the gaps in your working, and changing those gaps would be an enlightening experience and it would increase your productivity too. That is ancient wisdom applied to today's times. Namaskar.